Our Litter Media Game of the Week to kick off the 2020 football season has the Teays Valley Vikings at Logan Elm. We'll talk about that with both coaches in just a moment, but first this from Hometown Motors Incorporated. Cut in total professional comfort. Husqvarna. Available now at Hometown Motors Incorporated, 818 Eastern Avenue, Chillicothe. When the OHSAA and Governor's Office agreed on how to start the 2020 football season, that rescheduled everything. So many non-league games were thrown out the window, and league contests were moved up to week 1. That puts Logan Elm hosting Teays Valley. We talked with both coaches Terry Holbert from the Braves and Mark Weber from the Teays Valley Vikings on the interesting summer they've had.
Absolutely. These are incredibly unique times, but much like we have to do in our profession and in athletics and life in general, you have to adapt and overcome. And we are just so thankful to have the opportunity to play. Our kids are so thankful to a lot of different people to have the opportunity to play. There's a lot of people that's put in a tremendous amount of time and work and effort, and we just can't wait to cut it loose on Friday and compete against a league opponent, county rival, and go after it on Friday.
Yeah, the preparation was, like you said, very weird, very unique. A ton of skill development. We were in pods of 9 the whole summer, so coaches were very active with their small group, but we couldn't really develop that team aspect. The only way we could develop it is through Zoom or through discussion boards or things like that. So a lot of less talking with the whole team, or big groups, but you kind of had your 9 and you worked skill development. You could really focus on those 9 better than the team, the team aspect. So I think there's some positives there, but it was very weird as the head coach, where you got to run this whole ship of players and you're trying to get them to one goal. And the skill development is more geared towards the individual. So it doesn't go well with team, but it does help the team in the long run.
As you grew closer and closer to the start of the season, there was still a lot of uncertainty. Take us into what it was like for you, your staff, and your kids when you found out it was go time.
We prepared one day at a time. So, the calendar was a week at a time, but the next day you didn't know if, are we going to practice tomorrow or are we going to practice next week? So we just prepared one day at a time. I mean, there's a lot of infrastructure things. There's a lot of team things that we still do not have done because we're catching up now, because I knew it was going to be a sprint. We had all these months of preparation, but the stuff to get ready for games was going to be a sprint because we didn't know if we'd have games or not, just like equipment stuff and roster stuff, things like that. But like I said, we've been preparing since the summer with the small group stuff. And then once they gave us the go ahead, we're like, all right, the team can be built now, if that makes sense. So,
there was certainly a sense of joy. Our guys, as you had mentioned, they've been working incredibly hard. We've been, doing our best to follow all of the mandates and the restrictions and everything that's come down. So just to have an opportunity to play, there was tremendous joy, but there's probably also relief. Because we have been preparing, we've been working, and to finally get the go-ahead and the okay, that was big time.
You take a mid-state league opponent off right out of the gates, and that's another big difference. There's no, so to speak, warm-ups. You had a scrimmage, and
Sure.
First time you went school versus school.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what that was like.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we have no non-league schedule now. Typically, we would have our first 3 weeks would be non-league, and not that you take that any less seriously, but those are other opportunities to get better and to learn from mistakes and grow. You've got to be ready from week 1, right here, right now. There's no time for growth or for changes or anything like that. You've got to be ready to go right out of the gate. And Teays is they'll have an excellent football team, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, it's crazy when they said league schedule only. Then I said, okay, what's that look like? Because we have 7 teams in the league, so that means you get a bye. So then they're giving us a bye, and then they're saying, okay, so our rotation, Logan Elm right out the gates. We've never done that, And then they said, well, you have a bye week, so we had to scramble to find the bye game. So we picked up Bishop Watterson for that. So it's kind of cool to start with the league. But we really liked Chillicothe first week also. That turned into a rivalry. So we're just happy to play. It does not matter who we play. You know, if it was the best team in the state, we're going to play them just because the kids want to play. They're hungry. And it's almost like we feel blessed to play. It's almost like we kind of took things for granted before. And now it's like even practices, they practice better because they're like, we almost got this taken away, or we didn't get the opportunity to play, because it's a privilege to play. Let's face it.
How different is your squad this year from last year?
We were super athletic last year. Always have tough teams. Last year's squad, we only had like 11 seniors. I think this year we have 15 seniors, so it's a little bit bigger group. The word for this group would be gritty. They are not flashy whatsoever. This is not a group of, you know, a bunch of 4'6", 4'7" athletes. This is a group of, there's some really good football players and fast football players, but they're very gritty. They like defense. You know, if you would ask them, what do they want to play? They would say defense. And there's not a ton of flash. You know, they're going to show up in Viking gear, blue and gold. I don't have a lot of visor guys, or I don't have a lot of armband guys, you know, if you know what I mean by that, just flashy. I don't have that. So you're probably going to see blue and gold, kind of what we've done, you know, the last 6 years, but they take pride in running the ball right down people's throats. It's kind of just a tough and rough group, really. You know, I have a couple guys with mullets, so things like that.
Throwback to my era. Yeah, I tell you, I like the flash, but you really can't complain about having hard hat lunch pail guys. Those are necessary.
We've got a really solid senior class. A lot of those guys have been in the program for 4 years. You know, a lot of them you'll see on the field that have played since their freshman or since their sophomore year. And so we have a high expectation for those guys. Our junior class is fairly small, but they're going to play some key roles. And then we have a pretty good sized sophomore class. So you'll see a good many seniors, a good many sophomores, and a few juniors that are kind of sprinkled in throughout.
I imagine it's been difficult exchanging films and that sort of thing, not really getting a good scouting look at your opponent.
Yeah.
But you know Teays Valley. You've seen them. So what's your feeling heading into the contest?
Yeah, I mean, really only having one true scrimmage film, you know, speaking with Coach Weber, and both of us had kind of inter-squatted amongst ourselves. But, you know, we traded the one true scrimmage film, and we're going to have to rely on last year's film. And I think both of us have a good idea of each other. And, again, just a chance to get better, a chance to compete on a Friday night under the lights.
We were pretty comfortable with Chillicothe, too, just because we've been playing them so long. But in your league, it's just kind of a different feel. Like you said, you've been playing them for 30-something years, 40 years. You know the history behind the game, too, where Chillicothe and ours history was new. Logan Elm, Teays Valley history is old. You know, there's a ton of games. I can tell you the records that Logan Elm's won and we've won. And, you know, remember that really good running back in 2014 that Logan Elm had. Remember how they beat us by 3 points in 2014 off a missed field goal. Just you remember the league games a little bit more. Your league is special. You know, playing in league is special regardless of who you're playing.
We'll have score updates of the game on our Litter Media Facebook page Friday night, pictures and extras over the weekend, and a highlight package coming your way on Tuesday on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is free. I'm Dan Ramey. Thanks for watching Litter Media.